I'm calling a hot route. Go stand over here. Audible, hot route, Omaha.
Can we go to a different microphone?
Blue poncho. Monday.
What do you want me to do?
Monday,
I don't know what to do
Polly,
here.
Red Polly.
No, you don't need to move. I just, there were Deshaun Jackson and LaShawn McCoy trash Chip Kelly, and we had the audio, and I was going to play it here, but I'm calling a hot route.
Okay.
Calling a hot route.
You don't want to trash Chip Kelly?
I mean, I'm all, whatever. He's now at Ohio State, so we can trash him now. He's a villain. He's a rival now. He was never a real threat at UCLA. It is interesting that there is something going on this weekend, and I'm just curious where people are at. And I would love listeners to chime in on this.
Okay.
Last year, I remember having endless conversations constantly on the show, joking about how many things we were going to do to get good karma in the universe for this event. We were all following it closely. We were all engaged in it. We were all locked in. Couldn't wait for it. I remember screaming at my television in my living room, falling on the floor as it was unfolding of, oh my God, could this actually happen? The NBA draft lottery is on Sunday.
The draft lottery. Yes.
Last year. Now, look, I get it. There is no Victor Wembanyama in this draft. Totally understand it. The organization's in a different spot. I'm trying to get a read of where people are at on this because Portland has a very good shot in give or take 48 hours to find out that they have the number one overall pick in the draft.
They certainly do.
Have as good a chance as
basically 2 shots, actually.
Got 2
technically.
One of them's less than 1%, but it's a chance.
But it's a chance.
So you're saying there's a chance.
More balls.
With our balls, their balls and our balls, lots of balls.
Deep balls.
Lots of balls in play.
Balls.
Red Polly.
Thang, no thang, excited, not excited. Where are we at about the NBA draft lottery, which happens to be at noon on a Mother's Day Sunday?
Yeah, this, I had read the time wrong for when this starts, and so now I got some off-air things to figure out here.
Well, you work on Sundays. You got a show Sunday nights.
Well, I have a show Sunday evening, yes, I do, on the BetQL Network with Lucy Birch, Back to the Futures,
Shout out to Clipper fans.
Shout out to Clipper fans.
Eating that crow.
Yeah, well, they are.
How'd that crow taste?
Not good. It's not been good for them. One, it is a thing. It's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
So there's your first question.
It's taking place.
What was the second? Am I excited?
Excited. Are we excited, interested, eagerly awaiting to find out? Do we not care? Are we unplugged? Where are we at? Look, we're a tanking basketball team.
We are.
These are the days for tanking basketball teams that matter. Regular
these
season
are important.
Doesn't matter. This is what matters.
This is our Super Bowl.
This is it for us, baby. This is it.
So one of the things, I'm wrong a lot, okay, as a host, a lot. One of the things that I have been saying is I know this draft is largely crapped on and not highly thought of.
Yes, it is.
For over a year, because I've heard this now for over a year, is how bad this draft is. I find that narrative to be kind of stupid.
Okay.
The NBA is filled with dudes who hit from the second round. Minnesota has a guy off the bench that plays at the big spot, went undrafted. Big K Cerrito, second-round guy. I think the international element of basketball says that this draft is going to provide some dudes. Now, maybe not the dude, maybe not the second dude, but some dudes, some good players who could be role guys. That's why I argued on Sunday last week, if the Blazers get 12 or 13 or 14 with the Warrior pick, I wouldn't mind if they took Dalton Connect. I'd be happy about it, actually. He's 6'6". He was a stud at Tennessee. He had some awesome moments for them this year in what was, in the regular season, a tough basketball conference. I'd be all about it. High-quality role guy. They matter. Am I excited? I don't know if I'm excited, but I think this draft can provide talent that helps the team.
Yeah, I'm more curious to see, rather than who gets what ping pong balls or whatever, just I know most of the talent coming is going to be from the international ranks, maybe, not necessarily the college ranks, and I don't know anything about these guys other than maybe their names and if they're a big or a guard. So I'm more curious about, okay, how much potential talent is in there if they land, assuming they don't go backwards and get leapfrogged by 2 or 3 teams. If they have a top 3 pick, is there somebody in there that can provide some significant help at a position that Portland needs?
The first text we got on this when I asked the question,
yeah,
somebody asked me to play this drop.
No one cares.
Ouch.
I mean, what if we get the number 1 pick?
That was the
and
first,
we get our guy.
The second text we got upon my request for listener feedback on this segment was after the play the no one cares drop, please, was even if the Blazers get the number 1 overall pick, they're gonna blow it.
They're going to take the guy from Australia that nobody's watched except for YouTube.
Well, and that's where I think there's the follow-up question is almost to your to act as if there are no good players in this draft is hilarious.
I think it's ridiculous.
There will, of course, be good players in this draft. How many of them are MVPs? Like, who the hell knows? But there's going to be good role players, good starters, good. Like, there's going to be all-stars in this draft. There is in every draft.
There's
even in
clearly
the bad
not
ones.
right now. All the draft pundits that I've been reading and keeping up with, there is not a dude.
Yes.
There's maybe he could be the guy, but it's either that or a good role guy.
And just like we all saw the big case Cerrito happen, like, yeah, everybody thought he was going to be a 3-time MVP, right? Being drafted in the second round. I do wonder the follow-up question of the people who were in that mindset of like, who cares? Nobody cares. Is it more to do with the lack of star power in this draft class, and that's why you're saying, who the hell cares? We're not going to get anybody anyways?
Yeah.
Or is it more about just the unplugged nature of the fan base of like, dude, who cares? It's the Blazers. I'm checked. To that listener's point, if they're going to find a way to blow it, there's that pessimistic attitude
Well, it
out
could
there.
be both.
And maybe it's a combination of the two things, but it is unique that so many people have said it's a bad draft class, which, by the way, again, Dirt and Sprague Overtime on YouTube, you can go check it out. We had Kevin Pelton on earlier this week, and we asked him about the draft class, and he chuckled at the notion that it's that bad, that there are of course, going to be players, and it's towards the back end of the interview if you want to go find it. But he is pushing back on this narrative that it's one of the worst ever, and every GM saying, "Oh, it's so bad. Nobody in this draft." There will be good players, and we know that. It's a weird double whammy of the state of the fan base currently mixed with an all-time bad draft class, according to the pundits, has led to, and maybe it's the timing of it as well, being on Mother's Day at noon. It's just like this triple whammy of like, oh, that's right, the lottery's happening. Okay, yay.
I'll tell you right now, Dirt, though, if they get into that lottery and their best odds pick ends up being 6th, wow. Woof, buzz your girlfriend.
Talk about a rough end to a bad year.
I can't fathom a worse result for them than if they end up with the 14th pick and like the 6th pick.
Yeah.
Again, there's going to be some players that emerge from this class that help teams. But if that's where you end up, woof. That's going to be tough to get out of. But other way, come in Monday and our team has the number 1 pick in the draft, number 2, I'd be happy. What's the number for you? We're like, okay, this is a thing. Is it just top 3, and then after 3 it doesn't matter?
Probably top 3 for me.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you're outside of the top 3, that is a disaster.
Now, is the Warriors
They won
pick
21 games.
protected at all?
Top 4.
Top 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the chances of them getting a top
It's
4
less
pick
than
is
a percentage.
very, very, very minimal.
But you could have 2 top 5 picks. You know, again, the math
could have 2
doesn't say
top
that's
10
gonna happen.
picks. Maybe
Yeah.
they move up a couple spots, right?
Yeah.
Somebody texting, and I think this is a good point. And some of this is hindsight too. I don't remember the specific conversation, but I do remember there being questions bringing up the 2020 draft of Anthony Edwards, saying, I don't remember Anthony Edwards being thought of as a game-changing face of the league pick in 2020. And I do remember there being a debate of should he be the number 1 overall pick. He was this football/basketball guy.
Georgia was terrible.
Georgia
they didn't make
wasn't
the tournament.
good,
They were
like-
3rd to last in the SEC.
He was a one-year guy at Georgia.
Yeah.
They didn't have a good year as a team. The rest of that draft, when you look back on it, you have Wiseman go 2nd, LaMelo Ball went 3rd, Patrick Williams 4th, Isaac Okoro went 5th.
It's not a great draft.
Killian Hayes is in the top 10. Obi Toppin was top 10 pick. So it ended up being a pretty bad draft, and they made the absolute right pick at number 1. But
Yeah, they did.
He was not, if I remember correctly, who's going number 2 overall because we know who's going number 1 overall.
Well, I'm trying to remember Minnesota, what they had at this point, because I remember there was a little bit of debate of did they go LaMelo, and then it kind of became Anthony pretty quickly in the process, and then it became a debate of can LaMelo play with Steph Curry.
Yeah.
They didn't think so because, and also it's not like LaMelo's had that great of a career either.
No.
Like his biggest thing is that he's gotten a tattoo on his back.
It's a big tattoo.
I went back and read some of the profiles after his game 1 performance, and like reading somebody like Jeremy Woo of ESPN.com. It's like, 6'5" dude, hyper athletic, explosive athleticism, and then struggles here, struggles there, struggles there. He was highly thought of, but it's much like the Brunson conversation. I don't think anybody saw this.
No.
Now, there might have been some clips of it, but again, his college team was not good at all. and he had kind of been a one-off thing for most people. He was, I think, identified quickly as the number 1 pick, but it wasn't like we have baby Jordan.
Sure, it wasn't Caleb Williams where you just fast forward to the number 2 overall pick from the time the draft is announced because we know who's going number 1 overall. We have a poll question up on this. Are you excited about the NBA draft lottery this Sunday? Early returns so far, 57% of you say no, not excited about the draft lottery.
Well, I know me and Danny are planning something. I didn't know it was going to be at noon.
It's at noon on Mother's Day.
Yeah.